placing my GPW1000 over here to charge itself up while I'm filming this video because I just swapped the battery from this guy. I actually bought another GPW1000, used the battery on this one, plug it in this one, and basically jumpstart the way you jumpstart a car. You know, where you're gonna need to have another car to jumpstart a dead battery on another car. Same concept. After I jumpstart this guy and then I remove the battery back in here and just plug in the original battery back in this one, and now it's already beginning to charge. And the way you could know that by looking at the second hand, it moved at these 11 o'clock positions. Now I'm just gonna leave it there. Normally it's gonna take about 30 minutes to 1 hour depending on the light intensity, but I think I have enough time because I'm using the studio lights over here as I'm filming this video, which gonna be about difference between the GST-B200 versus the GST-B300. So it is a battle season, election season, not really elections, I know, but anyway, just battle between two candidates. Both of them will start at the exact same price point, so I guess I should make this video because the price are the same, around 500 bucks. They are expensive GShock watch. In this video, by the end of this video, I hope you could see the difference. The tiny little things are those that actually matters for your experience when you wear the watch. First is the price, okay? Even though they both cost the same, but this GST-B300 version has a cheaper options actually, because Casio also released one with resin bezel instead of metal, like one of this. So that one is like $50 cheaper. So if you're low on the budget, GST-B300 is your options, because you could pick one up at a cheaper price in comparison to getting one of this one, where all of them are mostly metal. Okay, that's the first difference. Number two is the button operation. Simple one, but still I need to point it out. This guy has 5 button operation, whereas this guy has 6 button operation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on this GST-B300. Okay. Next up is the button size. If you look at both of this GShock watch, you'll see that the GST-B200 has bigger button size, meaning button operation on this watch will be a lot easier, since the guard for both are placed underneath, meaning you could just press the button while you're wearing the watch quite easily. Both sides goes the same. Even the crown, sorry, not the crown, the connect button is bigger on the GST-B200 versus the GST-B300. I don't know why they do this. I mean, the watch itself is already big enough. Obviously have a lot of space to make a larger button, but Casio seems to not be interested in doing that. Next up is the crown. Okay, this one has metal crown guard, this one has carbon crown guard. I'm using the term crown lightly because the design looks like a crown, even though it is not a crown at all. This is just a button. Okay, look at that. From the front it looked like a crown where you could twist and rotate and whatnot, but no, this is just a guard for this button to connect to your phone, basically Bluetooth connect button. Whereas on this one, instead of using metal, it actually used the casing, the hard case itself, which is made out of carbon, to act as a guard for this button. I mean, it did need a guard this big. I mean, look at this button over here, it's just small, right? But just to, you know, make the watch look like a classic watch, I guess, which have a crown normally. So I guess that's what they're doing over here, basically metal and carbon. Next up, glass guard. Okay, this is fairly important when you're picking a watch, a GShock watch. The GST-B300 has this metal bezel at the top, which guard the glass pretty well, I guess, because the shape of it. Whereas on this guy, the GST-B300, not really. I mean, this glass was placed quite at a similar position, or pretty much level to the bezel, meaning you barely get any protection at all, in comparison to, say, let's see now, this this GPW1000 over here. All right, if you look at the glass, notice that it is very, very well guarded with this bezel around it, so it is pretty hard for you to bump it to something else. Whereas on this two watch, quite easy, but on this GST-B300 it's a lot easier because the shape is slanted like that, so when you bump into something, you could accidentally scratch the side of the glass quite easily. Next up is proprietary bezel screws on both models. Now, First, with this GST-B200, it has 8 screws. 4 at the front, which uses a really odd shape. So if you want to, I don't know, change the battery or disassemble the watch for repair, polish, or anything that you could think of with this watch, you're gonna need a special screwdriver to remove the 4 screws from the front. I do have it though, over here. When I bought my electronic screwdriver, they also gave me a bunch of this screw head. Where is it? This guy, right? So yeah, I could use this to remove the screw on this watch for disassembly, which I'm gonna make later. And the side has regular hex screws, so this is pretty easy to disassemble, but the bezel is not. Whereas on this GST-B300, it uses a standard Phillips head screwdriver and not a small one, but big one too. So looking for tools for disassembly is way easier. And notice that there are no screws on this side at all. Everything is placed at the front, lock and tight, just from the front. A lot easier to, you know, do some repairs, polish and everything like that in the future if you're thinking of doing so. Next difference is the lug size for the watch. Going all the way back here, you can see that the back plate are exactly the same, but the lug size is totally different. On this GST-B200, it has a 16mm lug size, meaning if you want to change the strap, you could easily find a replacement because most GShock watch has 16mm lug size. But on this new GST-B300, the size is actually 20mm, okay? Meaning it won't be as easy to find a replacement band from GShock, but you could easily find a replacement band, you know, from third-party sellers, silicone band, leather band out there, which normally have 20mm lug size. So it should be easier in that way. But if you want original GShock watch band, you're gonna have trouble finding one because most of them are just 16mm. Next up is the metal guard, I believe, or the lug for the watch itself. Okay, now assuming you want to change the watch band on this model, just pull the lever, quick release lever, and take it out. When you plug in another watch band in there, the spring bar will goes into this hard case for this GST-B300, which is made out of carbon core or carbon, okay? Whereas on this GST-B300, even though it looks the same from underneath, both of them has carbon structure for the casing, but the lug or the spring bar actually goes into this metal part of this watch. So this watch band actually connects to this metal bezel and not this carbon case. Meaning, if you scratched it, it's a lot easier to polish in comparison to one of this. And also you don't have to worry about breaking this lug on this GST-B300. So it is technically a safer bet if you like changing the watch band now and then. But you do have to worry about rust. If you get any rust in there, I mean, the spring bar is metal, this metal bezel is metal, I mean, it could get stuck in there in comparison to when using one of these carbon versus metal on this GST-B200. Okay, next up is the let's see now what else. Let's go back to the watch face. Function, just a little bit on functions. When you press the connect button on this GST-B200, let's say like that, the hands will move to R, ready, and if it managed to connect to my phone, it will go to this Bluetooth symbol over there, basically connect. Whereas on this GST-B300, if you press this button, it will go to this side of the watch for ready, and if it managed to connect to my phone, the hands will move all the way up to connect. I gotta say, they're just the same thing. It didn't affect anything, but the appearance, how the operation is performed on this GST-B200 just overall looks way cooler in my opinion. Next up is the indices. Obviously you can see that all of the 3D index are pretty much the same square shape, but on this GST-B300 have the 12 index marker in Arabic numerals, whereas on this GST-B300 just same square. Okay, so this is a lot simpler overall in comparison to this guy, obviously. Next up is the digital display. This one has taller display, whereas this one has shorter display. Both of them are visible even though they came in negative display, so you don't have to worry about that. Watch size, just standard watch size. If you look at both of them from the size, you can see that the GST-B300 is thicker. Obviously that is because it has an extra bezel placed on top like that. Okay, it has 1, 2, 3, whereas on this GST-B300, 1, 2, That's done. So that's why this is slimmer in comparison to this guy. Next up is the watch band. Alright, let's zoom back out a little bit. If I put them side to side like that and align the lug placement for both watch somewhere in this position, I guess, right? Something like that. You can see that the length for the watch band of the GST-B300 is longer than this. And not just that, the hole starts way further back. Look at that. This one starts here, this one starts over here. Meaning if you have a small wrist, this part over here will fill up or wrap around your wrist and basically eat up a lot of space. Meaning when you wear this GST-B300, you're most likely gonna have one of those extended tongue on the side. I personally don't care about that because I've been wearing big size GShock. I'm wearing one right now. I got it over here. But if that is your concern, the GST-B200 is the way to go because it is shorter overall, so it will give you a better appearance, I guess, when you wear the watch. Unless you have a big wrist size, and then the GST-B200 will look better overall in comparison to this GST-B200. And I guess last but not least is the buckle. Not a big difference at all. This one has single buckle, this is double horn buckle. Just the way it fits, I guess. They're both strong, they're both reliable, they're both made by cast. So you got it covered for you, so that's okay. It's just a matter of how it look on your wrist. Now, I hope you guys understand the difference between the GST-B200 versus the GST-B300 series. And yeah, go looking for one. I have the purchase link down in the description box to buyee.jp if you're thinking of getting one yourself.